Welcome to EQBloom. Today we're diving into a phenomenon nearly all of us have experienced. The moment your mind goes blank right before you need it the most. Picture yourself in front of an exam, a job interview, or a big presentation. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and suddenly your memory vanishes. It's as if your brain just unplugged itself. But let's be clear, this isn't a sign of low intelligence or poor preparation. It's actually a product of how our brains are wired for survival. Your brain isn't failing, it's trying to protect you. In this video, we'll explore the neuroscience behind stress-induced memory loss, what actually happens in the brain during high-pressure situations, and most importantly, what you can do to regain control. From hormone cascades to cognitive bottlenecks, we'll decode the real reason behind the mental blank screen effect, and how you can train your brain to stay online under pressure. To understand why your memory falters under stress, we first need to understand how memory works when everything is functioning smoothly. There are three key players in your brain's memory system: the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, and the amygdala. The hippocampus helps encode and retrieve long-term memories. Think of it like your brain's filing cabinet. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for working memory, focus, and decision-making. Essentially, it's your executive control center. Meanwhile, the amygdala is your brain's emotional alarm system. When sensory input enters your brain, for example the side of a math problem, it's first briefly held near working memory. If it's important, it gets encoded into long-term memory. Later, your brain retrieves it through a complex coordination between the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. But what happens when you're stressed? That whole system starts to falter. The stress response literally misfiles or blocks access to stored information. You may know the material, but your brain can't access it. Let's now zoom in on the chemical cascade that hijacks the system. When you're under stress, whether it's a tiger in the wild or a looming algebra test, your brain activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This triggers a surge of cortisol and adrenaline, two powerful stress hormones. Now, cortisol and adrenaline are incredibly useful in short bursts. They heighten alertness, boost reaction times, and prepare your muscles to either fight or flee. But there's a cost. These chemicals suppress activity in the prefrontal cortex, the very part of your brain responsible for logic, planning, and memory retrieval. Simultaneously, the amygdala becomes hyperactive, leading to tunnel vision and emotional reactivity. The hippocampus, which helps retrieve stored facts and experiences, also gets flooded with stress hormones, impairing its function. In essence, your brain shifts from thinking mode to survival mode. This is why you might find yourself staring blankly at a question you knew the answer to just the night before. Now you might wonder, if I'm not in physical danger, why does my brain act like I am? The answer lies in the brain's inability to distinguish between physical threat and psychological threat. Stress is stress, whether it comes from a bear in the woods or a judgmental professor. Situations like exams, job interviews, public speaking, or even social scrutiny can all trigger the same neurochemical alarm bells. Your amygdala doesn't care if the danger is a tiger or a test. It floods your system with adrenaline either way. This causes a drop in your cognitive bandwidth, your brain's limited pool of attention and working memory. The more stress takes up, the less room there is for conscious thought. That's why you can rehearse a speech 100 times but still freeze when it's showtime. This phenomenon is often referred to as choking under pressure. And it's not just about effort, it's about neurobiology. In more extreme cases, your brain may go beyond simple forgetfulness and shift into dissociation or shutdown. This happens when your nervous system perceives the threat as so overwhelming that neither fight nor flight is possible. In these moments, the brain may shut down awareness altogether, a phenomenon sometimes referred to as neuroception of life threat. The prefrontal cortex and hippocampus go dark, and your awareness detaches from your surroundings. This is common in trauma, but it can also happen in high-stress, non-life-threatening scenarios, like when someone completely blanks out during a speech, unable to remember where they are or what they're saying. Dissociation is your brain's last-ditch effort to protect itself from overwhelm. It's not weakness, it's a hardwired defense system. But if it happens often, especially in response to minor stressors, it can become a barrier to everyday functioning. Now for the good news. The brain is plastic. That means it can be retrained. The goal is not to eliminate stress. That's impossible. Instead, we want to train awareness and regulate the nervous system so that stress doesn't hijack the brain's executive functions. Start by building cognitive resilience. Use breathwork to signal safety to your nervous system. Long exhales activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Practice grounding techniques like body scans, cold water, or naming 5 things you see. Incorporate confidence cues, posture, eye contact, and affirmations that help shift brain chemistry. Reframe stress as excitement. This simple cognitive trick can shift you out of a fear-based state. These techniques keep the prefrontal cortex online so you can access memory, think critically, and perform under pressure. It's like building a buffer between stimulus and response, a space where your brain can choose regulation over reaction. Let's bring it all together. When your brain blanks under pressure, it's not malfunctioning, it's prioritizing survival over performance. Stress hijacks your hippocampus and prefrontal cortex and hands the wheel over to your amygdala. The result, you forget what you know, lose access to speech, or feel like time slows down. But this isn't permanent. You can rewire your response. Through regulation, rehearsal, and recovery, you can train your brain to stay calm, alert, and focused, even when the stakes are high. You are not broken, your brain is protecting you, but with the right tools, you can teach it to feel safe again. Until then, remember, your brain isn't your enemy. With awareness and compassion, it can become your greatest ally.